What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Rexx Ruger, flying solo tonight, but never truly solo, as I got the Alexis Arguello puppet rocking by my side. No Benjis tonight, but the show goes on. So let's get down to it and chop it up. You know what time it is. Another amazing guest. What else would you expect? Let's get down to it, chop it up with him. I'm excited, but when am I not? There he is. What's up, Antoine? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
I'm glad we got to make this happen, man. And lost your camera there for a minute. There you go, man. So first of all, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just chilling, man. Chilling.
Now, I think a lot of fans would be curious, how things in your boxing career are going since we last saw you in the ring in March of 2023.
Yeah. Well, I had that fight, then I got my injury. My knee started bugging and stuff.
Okay.
So, I had that fight. I was going to take a week off, but I ended up getting right back in the gym, staying consistent. I messed my knee up. So, but really just chilling right now. I mean, ain't really much going on. I've been really training the kids at the gym, getting them ready for nationals and stuff like that. So that's really what the focus has been right now for me.
God damn it sucks getting old.
Yeah, man, it does, man. So, older and wiser, though. So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. And so, if I can backtrack a little bit, man, how did you get into the sport of boxing? Because usually my son co-hosts the show with me on the episodes he can get on here. He's got, obviously young kids or whatever. He can't make every episode. But, we always laugh because it always seems like either the narrative is a father pushed them into the sport or they were getting into a lot of scraps in the street, or sometimes both.
Yeah, well, that is usually the story. But I was just a kid, a foster kid. It was my foster parent putting me into it as a form of discipline. Put me and my brother into it as a form of discipline. And we just stuck with it. He knew already that we could fight because of the kind of trouble we were getting into.
Yeah.
Put us in the boxing. It could be put towards something more productive. And also a good outlet for the kind of upbringing that we had. It was a great outlet.
Yeah, no doubt. And so what age would that have been around that you got into it?
That was like 10 and a half going on 11.
And now, when usually when young kids that age get into sports, they always have those guys they put up on a pedestal. We have our sports heroes. In boxing, like, who are those guys for you?
I never had one. I mean, I love Roberto Duran because of his nickname, Hands of Stone. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
Ali was the GOAT, and Ali is my GOAT, so he's always the GOAT. So I was a fan of him. Mike Tyson, yeah, but I think my favorite of them all was Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, one of mine too.
Growing up, my favorite. And that whole weight class, him, Hearns, Hagler, Roberto Duran.
Amazing.
Phenomenal era in boxing, man, with all those guys, being as good as they were, too.
And now, what about when you look around at the landscape of boxing now? Do you still keep a keen eye on the sport? Do you watch from a fan standpoint?
Yeah, I watch because I got like family that's in the sport, man, who are still doing their thing and stuff. But I watch, and I'm really just a watcher now. Like I always tell people, it was never my dream to box, man. It was never my dream. It was never something I was trying to fulfill. It was just something that presented me an outlet. It put food on my table, and it kept me fed, and I was able to, help out my family and stuff like that. But there was never a huge desire to I want to do this. There's probably a more desire now than anything, but also there's a lot less care towards it now too. But yeah, during the time when I was in my career, I was just going through it. People say, man, this is that, and that was this. I said, man, I can't even really pinpoint any points in my career where I'm like, okay, this is where I know where I need to be or I want to be and stuff like that. I was just going through the motions every step of the way. Another fight, another check. It was just a job, another day of the job.
And yet still, though, man, I mean, a record of 23-2, 17 in knockouts, which in the boxing world would certainly be considered successful.
Yeah, successful record, yeah. So, and that's I love to tell the kids that I train these days, I'm like, man, you guys got to understand, man, as good as I was, it was not my dream.
Yeah.
You guys who actually have dreams, you guys should be that much. You guys should be dream worthy, much better than me, or putting in that much more work. I know my work ethic got me over the hoop most of the time.
Are you somebody psychologically that looks back and with any kind of lamenting or with any kind of regrets and thinks, geez, if I was dialed in, like I was really kind of like
Definitely.
I mean, I rack up a record of 23-2, and I'm really not as passionate about it as a lot of guys who were passionate and couldn't attain those type of records.
I always think like, man, if I if I know you always, if I know what I know now,
right? Yeah.
I look back at things where I was like, okay, a lot of times, even as humans, we notice things, whether in any environment you're in. You'll notice something, you'll just let it slide sometimes because it doesn't affect you that bad, or you don't think so.
Sure.
And later on down the line, you're like, damn, that was really a fucking foul. That was really something that should have go on. So I look back at my career in that stance and say, there were a lot of things that went on that I should have been spoken up more. But again, I was like, okay, whatever. Family's taken care of. I'm good. I can pay for my own things. I got my own money and stuff like that. So I just was going with the flow, as I would say.
So when you look around the sport now, getting back to the current landscape of the sport, are there guys that you're really dialed in to watch? Like when they're going to fight, like, is there anybody that, Antoine Douglas says, I got to sit down and watch this guy, man, but this is somebody, man, who's going to get my attention.
Got you. I like to watch Jerron Booth Ennis, man. He's a phenomenal athlete, man.
Yeah.
Just the way he does what he does, man. It's always very pinpoint and precise and non-wasteful. And it's beautiful too, man. He checks all the marks in a champion fighter, a spectacular fighter. Makes it good, has fun, he does his own thing, and it's also a fight. Shakur Stevenson, I watch him, phenomenal boxer. Terrence Crawford, I watch him. Terrence Crawford is I consider him like the top in boxing right now.
Yeah, agreed.
I like to watch the kid from UK, Ben Whitaker, because he's fun to watch, man. Very entertaining.
Yeah, he's kind of doing his drunken master thing.
Exactly, and it's the irony behind it is when I was boxing, I didn't know that I needed to be the character. I was still the young boy from the hood, struggling and just fighting every day. And it made me realize, damn, I could have been, the character, which is the ideality. But it also stems from having the proper team around you that knows how to get these things out of you.
Definitely.
Had I known what the idea was and what the dream of boxing was, I would have realized, okay, this is what I'm fighting for. Not fighting to survive and stuff like that. But as far as fighters I like to watch, man, the entertaining guys, Ben Whitaker, Terrence Crawford, Shakur, Keyshawn Davis, Troy Isley, Jerron Ennis, who else? I like Inoue. I want to see him fight some competition though.
Yeah, we just had Keyshawn. Yeah, actually, we just had Keyshawn Davis on a couple of nights ago. Great young kid.
Yeah, that's my boy, man. He's done it well, man. Doing it well, man.
He is doing it well. Yeah, he is doing it well. I mean, and he's got two brothers doing it pretty decently too.
Man, phenomenal family, man. I've known them, since we were all in the amateurs and they were a lot younger. You get what I'm saying? So.
And the thing that's nice too, is he's really repping his community too. He's all about the 757. He's all about giving back to the community and really putting them on the map.
That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, bringing the team with him, bringing the home team with him. So, yeah.
And now, do you feel like you said you're at a point in time in your life right now, like where you're kind of passing boxing on to the kids? Do you feel like that? Look, that desire to to help kids. Obviously, a lot of that must stem like from your own experience in foster care.
Yeah, and I think it's a full cycle thing. It's funny because sometimes I catch myself yelling at them, "Hey, go jog this and do this and do this and do that," and it's a full cycle thing from when the coaches used to yell at me and tell me the same thing. So it's great, but I also get to help them understand that I know exactly the shoes you've been in. I know what it's like to be in a fight, and you feel like the combo that you think you want to throw is you got it figured out, and you don't need to listen to coach and all these things. So I can always relate to them in that aspect, but I like to give it full circle, and I feel like it kind of landed in my lap because I'm teaching at the gym where I trained at. With Shakur and with Keyshawn and with Troy and them. So it's like a home base type thing, you know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't rather be teaching anywhere else.
Yeah, and now what about like these when my son's on here co-host and with me, we usually refer to them, for lack of a better term, as gimmick fights. We saw one last night. Ultimately, we ask almost everybody that comes on the show. It's a polarizing topic, I know. People will say it brings eyes to the sport. But when you see these Jake Paul type YouTube fights, you know what I mean? Like, ultimately, do you like these for the sport, or do you think this is, this is kind of a farce?
And I have this conversation with a friend of mine all the time. I say it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift because it brings eyes to the sport, brings money to the sport, brings notoriety and acknowledgement to the sport. It's a curse because it then begets to allow your average Joe Smo person to believe that they can do the same thing that these fighters can do, because Paul has done so. And they're now understanding that this is a kid who has definitely got money to pay for whatever he needs to pay for. So he is more well equipped to be able to do these things. So within my experience from working in commercial gyms to just being in the gym, working out, Gold's Gym or whatever, and I'm doing my thing, people don't know who I am. And I'm not too verbal about it. I don't go, hey, who, why.
Right.
So a lot of times somebody will come and hit the bag beside me, and they'll begin to get where they want to, have a sword fight. And so I noticed that has to stem from the way the era of boxing is now, with all these two fighters and stuff like that. And it makes sense and it's great for business, but it's just one of those things that it'll either pass with time or it'll lead to something more beautiful, because now you got 1 million more boxing leagues now. So I think it's a great avenue to monetize off of.
I think the only sad part about it really is that you see guys grinding from a young age, 6, 7, 8 years old, yearning for the type of paydays that these guys just stepped into the sport and are able to get like instantaneously. You know what I mean? That part is kind of something that kind of sticks in my craw like a little bit, because we've talked to so many guys on here, legends, young guys that are on the come up. And, guys are scratching and clawing and just hoping someday they could get a 10, 20, $30 million payday, you get a guy who, because of his social media profile, is able to attain that kind of stuff. And as you alluded to, he's got the money to kind of, for lack of a better term, kind of play boxing,
Yeah, and I feel that way also, but I also I live life by more so this standard. Everybody's journey is different. If you're going to be a dog, be a fucking dog. If you're going to be hard in the first place,
right?
So you either you're gonna say fuck it. If this is what it takes, I knew this, I'm signing up for it, or well, let me go ahead and just play double dutch or something else.
Yeah. Now, when you were competing at middleweight, I know you said that you might not have been as on fire and passionate as other guys around you in the sport, but was there a fight at the time when you were actively competing that you were really angling for, or would have liked to have seen come to fruition that didn't happen?
When I was fighting, no. When I was fighting, actually, there was none. Now, I think I would have loved to afford people who were in the top tier there, Gabe Rosado, Gennady Golovkin, and stuff like that. But what I did know was, when I was in my career, my team was not put together well enough where I would have survived those fights. I had the fights that I did have where I was really concussed. My team was not together. I was not trained well and skilled enough yet, or experienced enough yet, for them fights also. And then also looking back at my career now and looking at the way things are moving now, my management was not the best. It was not the best as far as moving a fighting and building a fighter. Where my 8th fight was an undefeated guy, and I beat him. Well, but I didn't have those moments where I was fighting in Mexico for 5, and stuff like that, where it was a building process and stuff like that. I was kind of in for the dogs and stuff like that, and I was okay with it also. It's not a complaining thing. It's just one of those things where I say, okay, if these are the things that it takes to build your fighter, what parts were missing in the recipe where it may have led to something that I did not have, that they might have had, stuff like that. So just looking at it like that. But in the time when I was fighting, it was just another day, another dollar, another day in the office. Whoever was going to be in there in the ring, he was going to have to either kill me because I was going to fucking go out on my wheels, or and that was my fighting style. And also I enjoy what I did for the fans too, man. I enjoy how the fans enjoy watching me fight. Even to this day, we still want to watch. And I won't even say I'm totally done with boxing. I'm only 31 years old right now. You get what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Oh my God, that's young in the sport nowadays.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I can get like my body healed up and get a proper team, I definitely do it, man. I definitely love to do it, especially for being out of boxing and connecting with people in the commercial boxing world and business and stuff like that, and having taught them and things. I love to do it just to entertain, man. Like on some Ben Whitaker type, for me, if I got back in the sport, I probably wouldn't care so much for the desire of titles and fights, which would naturally come. It'd be me more for just making money and entertaining in the entertainment.
But I don't think it would be outside the realm of possibility. Obviously, you alluded to the fact, you're 31. You're 31 years old. When you have when your nickname is Action and you win 23 fights and you knock out 17 of them, man, that is what you would refer to as a crowd pleasing style. People are going to turn out in droves to see somebody that fights like that.
Yep. So yeah, like I said, it wouldn't for me. I know it would all fall into place if I did, so I'm never going to exclude it out. Oh, I'm totally done. If I were maybe 40, and okay, reasonably so.
Right.
But I'm 31 years old. I can't even put a number on the year when I say, okay, I know I'd be done, because it's one of those things where you always get that itch. But right now, I just enjoy training these kids and being in tune with the sport at that level right now and making sure they get great. If things do come into play where I bump elbows or rub elbows with the right people and it seems like a good fit and I'm feeling healthy enough, then that'd be perfect for me also. Because like I said, I do watch and I still love to enjoy, and I feel like I've learned so much. I know I've learned so much more than, what previously was in my career. So them getting ANTOINE Action Douglas boxing now would be a similar style, as in it'd be very action-packed still, but it'd be a lot more cleaner, smarter boxing and more controlled.
And I think sometimes Father Time is also like a good barometer too. Like we saw like another middleweight, Bernard Hopkins, he fought into his 50s. And I think it got to the point in time like where it wasn't so much he stepped away from the sport. It was just kind of like everybody else kind of caught up to him, and he realized, okay, it's now it's actually time,
You accomplish as you've accomplished, man. No need to, put yourself through much more damage and stuff like that.
Yeah, and at the end of his career, he's getting knocked out of the ropes and stuff in one of his last fights by a guy who he would have killed, 5 years ago, but before that,
Yeah, no good, especially with the way things. These kids are getting stronger and faster and harder and hitting harder, man. So.
Yeah, and it took me a little while to drink the Kool-Aid too, and I was just talking about this with one of my last guests, how, you see a guy like Shakur Stevenson, who you mentioned earlier, you got like a group of people over here, boxing pundits and critics and stuff like that who say he's boring, he runs too much, he's not engaging. Then you have this bunch over here who says he's a defensive wizard, these fights are master classes, these are amazing fights. And I guess to a certain extent, you do want to be entertaining. You do want to give the fans a fight. But then what do you stand to gain, though? At the end of the day, it is the art of hitting and not getting hit, because you see so many of these guys, after their fighting career, who aren't in such great, physical circumstances. So is the guy really wrong for not going in there and having these Gaddy Ward type back and forth fights? He's probably playing it smart, and he is still getting W's.
Mm-hmm. I think to each his own in that standard, and I'd give that's more like a political pull. That there, like your Democrats versus Republicans, your conservatives, so you got those who know the science and the art of boxing, so we can watch it and still be entertained by the things that we notice a fighter doing. You got those who may not, and they want to see action. You got those who also do understand, they still want to see action. But even in those who do understand and know what they want, who know what they're looking at and do see action, we can still appreciate the fine art that we see in front of us.
Right. I almost think it's harder to swim without getting wet, for lack of a better term, and do what Shakur does, than going there and stand toe-to-toe in the middle of the ring and slug it out with somebody,
Exactly, yeah. It's a lot easier to just go and slug it out. Yep.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you hit the nail on the head. It really is an art and a science to it. I think that gets lost a lot of times, especially and it's a word thrown around a lot among casual fans who just think, I'm tuning into a boxing match. I need to see two guys constantly trading punches back and forth, Yeah.
And they want to see a fight, but I think that stems from coaching, man. You don't have coaches around anymore. You got a lot of guys who I can teach you how to box, and I can be a coach, and they can teach you a 1-2. Can you teach him how his muscles should feel when he steps around to pivot? Does he know what foot to step first when he pivots pertaining to? Does he know when he's at this angle, which leverage is the best shot? Coaches don't teach things no more. They want the fighters to have it figured out already. And it's because they it's like a rush for the dollar. And I'm like, man, I don't believe in that way of teaching. You're either ready or you're not. You're based on like how I teach. As a fighter, if I've trained you, you kind of represent me, buddy. So that'd be some good representation. So yeah, it's more so like that. I think just the death of actual coaching, man. You don't have teaching anymore.
Right.
Do the 1-2. Give me this fancy combo, bro. What does he know? Why is his punches so short? Why are you punching away? Why are you not making him actually slip those mitts and stuff like that?
Yeah, so, a lot of those little intangibles have gotten lost. Yeah,
exactly. So
and now it seems, and now unfortunately, it seems like you can land the biggest fights, if you talk the best game on Twitter or you have the high social media profile.
Exactly. And I miss the game has got pimped out, man. It got pimped out.
It really has. Yeah.
I think there's hope, though. I think there is hope. Like we still got fighters like Crawford, Boots, and I even think Shakur may make some difference, man, because he'll fight though. But I don't think his fight was the best. It's just we can't have all our cake and eat it too.
Right. That's a good point. So when you teach these kids, like what is it that has enabled you to become, somebody who really can like relate? First of all, do you have children of your own?
I don't. Not yet.
Okay. So do you feel like in some way, like this is that opportunity, to kind of, be that, that role model, that father figure? I imagine a lot of these kids probably are yearning for that in a lot of ways too. It's more than just boxing.
Yeah. And because I realized like getting back to the gym, it was not a community it was back when I was training there. And me and Shakur and Troy and everybody in the community, it took a slow build up. Now the gym is back popping like any fitness gym, like it's a club or something. We got families in and out. We got people always coming by. The gym had died out from that for a while once everybody disappeared. Everybody from the Olympic runs to turning pro, there was no life left in the gym, but there was also no energy to keep it going. And we get in the gym and the kids barely know how to talk to each other. Responsibilities to the pandemic and then being isolated from such a time and stuff like that, missing out on those kind of years. And so it just made me realize things. And also just with going through these things and being a coach in commercial environment, I was always around people. I know how to be sociable and stuff like that. And boxing was just my thing. So it all worked out. And also had been in their position as these children, having been in their positions before, it made it that much easier to do the job and also get to where we could understand each other and be on the same page. And it's not easy. Like sometimes we're in an group chat and I gotta let them know, hey, bro, some things you say, some things you don't say. You know what I'm saying? So I like to believe that because I know their dads are probably at work, and when the kids aren't, whatever they're doing in the summer, they're not in the gym, they're running the streets and being influenced by whatever else is going on. I like to know, okay, when you guys come here, you'll get some real structure, some mannerisms. And I always tell them, I'm like, whether you guys fight forever or never, I want to see you outside in the street somewhere and see you doing well and see you confident. And that's the main thing for me.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's so many guys who come on here, and when we ask them who their role models were or who their all-time GOAT is or their all-time great, 99.9% of the time, Muhammad Ali is always one of those first names that we hear. And I think it is just as much so for the fact that what he did in the ring, but the man that he was outside of the ring as well. That speaks volumes, I think. And raising up a guy that, has a good knuckle game is one thing, but raising up a guy, who could be that guy outside of the ring is very different.
Exactly. That's what makes the big difference, man. You can't box forever, man. Like you just said earlier, you got some fighters who ain't so healthy after boxing. You get what I'm saying? Who don't have it all figured out after boxing. So if they can't, what has the coach taught them aside from just putting their hands up and punching somebody?
Yeah. Now one thing I'm taking away from this conversation, and I don't think I'm off base here because you did kind of hint at it earlier, man. But I don't think Action Douglas is all done. I feel like there's more to your career, and I think that we will see you in the ring again.
There's a possibility. Like I said, I won't ask it out. There's a possibility. I'm always like in shape doing my 100 squats, push-ups, sit-ups, 200.
You look it, yeah.
So. I make sure to always stay fit. I might hit something every now and then. I just don't feel the urge. Back in March, I felt that urge a lot. Like I was on fire. I was so much on fire with the urge in March. it got me in trouble, and that's why I had to really, take some time away. I got in trouble because, like any good fighter, great fighter will say, like Tyson, when you go back into that mode, it brings a monster out of you sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Even Mike Tyson has even alluded to the fact that he tries to keep that guy tucked inside, and he doesn't like when he comes out.
Exactly. So
yeah,
it was one of those things, and being in fight mode and getting ready for my fight, and right before my fight, some things happened where it shouldn't have happened, and I still had my fight, but I had to, take some time away because of a mistake that had happened. But the moment it happened, it made me realize, man, was this why I kind of stayed away from it so long? It put things in a perspective and stuff like that. Which also, for me, it became also a challenge. If this was something that was something that was a part of me, if it wasn't something that I could willingly, control or do about with, then was it rightfully so? But I think, like I said, I feel good, man. I still feel good. I still punching much smarter boxer now, man. So.
It sounds like there's more of a motivation for in-ring competition than there was maybe back during your earlier part of your career.
Yeah. Like I have, if I got in the ring now, I'd have goals to set, and also with what I know, I'd be knowing how to go about them. You get what I'm saying? It also helps that I have a history in the ring too. You know what I'm saying? So
now, were you frustrated back when you said all that stuff was going on, and you felt like you were cognizant, and you knew that you didn't have the best team assembled around you? Was that bringing you frustration, and in turn, was that taking the focus? I mean, you're still compiling an amazing record, but was that taking some of the focus away from it because you knew, geez, I don't have the people. I don't have the people in this team here, man, that I really want.
It didn't frustrate me because I just ignored it. I kind of put it in the background, focused on the next fight, right. the next this, the next that. And it didn't help me because in my mind, it's in the background, but in those around me, it might have been on their mind. So they were actively doing things in preparation for whatever might have been next and whatnot. Because you could see, in my career where I had to get another coach, and my initial coach wasn't there, and management and promoters and stuff like that. So things took a turn, but I was just for the ride, man. I really was I was like just a idle-minded kid, just in for the ride, man, and wishing for the best, preparing for the best, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
Because it does matter the people you have around you. You know what I mean? Like, I've had a couple conversations with, I've had Gerald McClellan's son on here, and I've also had his sister on here. And obviously, he's another guy that had some tragic circumstances after his fight with Nigel Benn or whatever, man. But they even said around that time, though, he had parted with Emmanuel Stewart, and he had a lot of people, even to the point where in his camp, he was wrapping his own hands and kind of saying, like, nobody here knows what the fuck they're doing that I've got around me,
Exactly, yeah. And it sucks when it's like that, man. So I can relate to that situation. My team, I wouldn't say they didn't know what they're doing, but it was fresh for them being in that light, that fast, and that frequent, and that consistent.
Yeah.
Being pushed, I had maybe 10 fights in 1 year, man, and climbing the ranks and stuff like that. And there was so much going on, and I still don't put that down to cushion the downfall of my team and not doing what they're supposed to do. But that was also a part of the thing where, did they know? Had they been here before? Were they just going with the flow too type thing? So, but it was a lesson learned, very much so a lesson learned, man. Very much so a lesson learned.
And now, because I mentioned your last fight was March 11th of 2023, but you have made mention that you stay in shape. You are in the gym every day. You're working and trying to keep up with these kids or whatever. If you did enter back into in-ring competition, do you feel like to a certain extent there would be ring rust, or do you feel like you've been able to stave some of that off? Because of your involvement with the kids and being at the gym.
I think if I got into the ring, there wouldn't be ring rust because I'd make sure I'd gotten in the ring enough times before then.
Yeah.
But I'd make sure and then once you get that feeling, like once I had my fight back in March, once I got that feeling, it was good again. Now the first, if I do fight again, or when it does happen, I'm pretty sure I'll have to get through that again. But the moment it does, it'll be that switch again. You get what I'm saying? Then I think I'll be fine.
It's kind of like muscle memory. Like, people have debated that since the beginning of time. Like, is ring rust a real thing? You know what I mean? Because you can see guys who take a year off and they jump back in the ring and they don't look so good. But then it seems like some guys can jump in there and it looks like they were just in there last week. You know what I mean? So I don't know how prevalent of a thing it is. I guess it really depends a lot on, what you've been doing during that idle time.
Yeah, that's what it is. Look, your team, your training camp, all those things matter. All those things matter. Every fighter may not know what he should be doing. But that's where the team comes in. You get what I'm saying? That's why you got some of these fighters who can take Andre Ward, can take these times off and come back and still, be phenomenal. You get what I'm saying? So that's where it becomes a team thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, man. I enjoyed the shit out of this conversation, man. This has been one of my more, and we've done 130 some odd episodes, man, with a lot of legends and a lot of guys on the come up, man. But I just love the give and take and the exchange here, man. And just the conversation has been amazing.
No problem, man. I enjoy it, man.
Please promise me you'll stay in touch. I would love to have you on again, man.
Will do, man. You have my contact. You can always get in contact with me, man.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this, Antoine, man. I really appreciate it, man. And please, if anything jumps off, anything that you're going to promote or you are going to get back in the ring, man, keep us tapped in, man. We'd love to have you back on, certainly, to promote it.
Thank you very much for having me, man. Definitely will do. I enjoyed the conversation also.
It was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon, man. Thank you. There he goes, folks. Antoine Action Douglas. We ain't seen him in action, as I said, since March of 2023. But goddamn, he looks ready to go right now, man. Compiled a record of 23-2-1, 17 knockouts. That's probably where he got the name Action from, because that is fucking action right there, man. Getting guys in the ring and dropping them. But still, just a great conversation with a candid, honest guy, man. Antoine Action Douglas, man. Really, really enjoyed that, man. Just love just chopping it up, man. Regardless of what a guy's been doing in their career or how active they've been or what the hell they've done in recent history, man. It's all just about talking to these guys who will put their life on the line. They've been warriors. They are warriors. They will always be warriors, man. And I don't think we've seen the last of Antoine Action Douglas, man. He looks like he's a young 31 years old, man. Was not on the receiving end of obviously only 2 losses. And that's a pretty damn good, me, I'm not so great at math, but out of 23 wins, knocking out 17 of them is going to put that knockout percentage up there. We'll just say up there. Alexis Arguello puppet not helping me out with the math either, just sitting there slack-jawed again. But I'd have to say that's pretty damn successful right there. And I hope we do see that dude back in the ring, man. But God bless him, dude. He's out there doing God's work, man, helping raise up our kids out there, man, and teach them to be upstanding young men and women and future warriors, regardless of whether they fight professionally, man. They'll know how to go out and fight for what's right in life. And that's important, man. It's all about the next generation. As a father and a grandfather, I understand that wholeheartedly, man. So big salute to Antoine Action Douglas, because the kind of action he's partaking in right now, that's the fucking the stuff that's really important, the good stuff, man. That's God's work, man. But I think we will see action back in action, no pun intended, man. But that was a hell of a fun conversation, man. Glad we got a chance to do this. Make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, and make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on this channel. I flew solo again tonight. No Benjis, just me, the Alexis Arguello puppet. So basically just me, but still an amazing conversation with an amazing guy, man. Hats off to him, man. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Make sure to stay tapped in for the best boxing conversations where we chop it up like no place else, man. And remember, if you want to be a champion, you got to roll with the champs.